Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher has been loudly challenging what he views as extreme woke ideas, and this time his attention landed on Whoopi Goldberg, whose recent comments left many people puzzled and even disappointed. Maher didn't simply voice a different opinion, he steadily chipped away at her argument until there was almost nothing left to support it. So what exactly triggered his reaction? Let's walk through it, because this exchange was anything but calm or ordinary.
Get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more...
Whoopi kept repeating the same talking points, shifting the conversation instead of addressing Maher's argument, and her frustration grew as her stance began to unravel. Maher was discussing everyday concerns that matter to many African Americans: safe neighborhoods, affordable places to live, and steady work. Yet Whoopi brushed these aside by oddly redirecting the topic to supporting a former prosecutor, a move that made her reasoning feel completely off track. Maher caught the flaw right away, and the exchange that followed was uncomfortable to watch.
People can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
The sharpest thing he said that evening came next. "It's not that I've become older, it's just that your ideas are stupid." That was all he had to say. Often, the vision appears haphazard and unfocused, and Mark expressed this kind of outrage without any genuine justification.
Statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no. It's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
Then the topic of President Joe Biden pardoning his son Hunter Biden came up. For someone who once stated that no one is above the law, the behavior raised grave concerns. Instead of being unclear, the evidence against Hunter was clear, but the consequences simply disappeared. Maher's remark resonated because it tackled a deeper issue: a legislative framework that protects wealthy families from the full impact of the law.
It's valid because, our Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time, and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is, he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, "Hey, man, I'm not focused on that."
Confusion was increased by Biden's defense of his decision. She argued that Biden might have changed his mind after seeing others avoid punishment. The explanation was absurd, and Charlemagne was amazed at how far she pushed the logic.
I'm going to stop you for a second. Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend?
No, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
Maher said that the primary issue with the woke population is not their zeal, but rather their inconsistency. They demand fairness, but only when it benefits them. When someone they support commits a mistake, their demands for accountability suddenly cease. Instead, they offer emotional defenses and explanations. Mark called attention to this unjust practice and reminded the audience that regardless of one's political beliefs, the facts never change. This is why his criticism resonated. He exposed a level of hypocrisy that many people are tired of seeing.
Founded on the principle, there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law.
Maher also criticized the mainstream media for protecting the powerful. He underlined that the Hunter Biden story was disregarded before the election because it went against the narrative that some media outlets wanted to promote, not because it was false. Instead of reporting it honestly, they either ignored it or postponed it. Whoopi added that it was false information from Russia. Even if the claim was denied, Maher clarified how this kind of media bias shapes public discourse in addition to influencing opinions.
Well, I'm just gonna follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. They don't have.
Then Maher spoke one of his more scathing things. America is run by mean girls. He wasn't talking about teenagers. He was alluding to associations of influential people who put pressure on others to adopt their opinions. He feels that Whoopi's opinions panel suppresses criticism and promotes homogeneity, much like one of these cliques. According to Ma, they are not promoting sincere communication. They are utilizing guilt and pressure rather than ideas.
It's love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. Yet to bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No.
He argued that instead of focusing on these issues, the party frequently veers toward moral preaching that has no influence on reality. He criticized progressive activists who claim to know more about racism than the people they claim to be helping. He made a simple case. Most Americans are not familiar with online activism. For them, practical issues are crucial.
Any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be.
He won because millions of Americans preferred him to what the Democrats were offering at the time. Chaos was not the choice made by voters. They were voting against an antiquated political culture. Ma reminded his audience that elections are easy. When your side loses, it's not always a conspiracy.
Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here. As if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office. But they do. When a poll last year asked if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us.
He said that a party that supports radical foreign policy or allows biological men and women to play sports is harder for the common voter to relate to. Democrats received a strong message from him: steer clear of fringe concerns and return to those that matter to most Americans.
It's a coalition of Trump voters, people who really like him. They certainly are those. And then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti-communist.
Made a joke at the conclusion of the show about supporters claiming that Whoopi's reprisal for her attacks on him was karma. He rejected it, saying that life is not governed by karma, but sometimes things happen so precisely that they're just funny, he continued. Rather than imparting a magical lesson, his final statement, which represented a hunter being stomped after pursuing wild animals, was meant to highlight the irony.
Saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Maher closed the exchange with confidence. Whoopi tried to push back, but in the process, she revealed her own contradictions. By pointing out the gaps in her claims, Maher kept the audience fully engaged, turning the moment into more than simple criticism. It became a solid, well-built argument. His ability to speak directly about political tension is what keeps him relevant. And he didn't just come out ahead in the discussion, he reminded everyone why his perspective still holds weight.